Haha! Let's see. That should be okay. Let's just do that. There we go. There we go. It's alive. It's working. Minor technical grief. But welcome. We are live once again from the loft. I'm just going to turn off some of the background noise because there is a lot of background noise up here just due to the fact that there's stuff up here. So there we go. Right. Welcome, anyone, everyone. It's been a couple of weeks since I went live. Tablets updating, everything updating everywhere. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, who, what, where, when, and why. Lots happened. It's been a busy few weeks. We have gained the ability to stack, which obviously on the NVRs, which I have an NVR stack here to play with. If anyone has any questions specifically on that, I have a couple of Sophoses floating around still for people asking questions on that. Still tidying up. Still carnage, chaos, and mayhem in places. And just making sure everything is behaving itself. Oh, more updates to do. Oh, no, that's done. Is that done? Oh, God knows. Anyway. Oh, it's a nice, warm, and entertaining day. Where was I getting started? Let's flick over and get that opened up there. Come on. Live, computer. Sorry, my computer's on a very much a go slow today. Oh, it won't post the link, Jack. Sorry. But what's his name? I've closed TikTok now, so I haven't got his name. Let's go over to there. Be interested, actually. You got it from far now. An Avnet company. Products. Test and measurement. The ideal LAN Explorer Pro. Let's have a look. Test equipment, network data and comms. And network analyzer. LAN Explorer Pro. There we go. That'll take us straight to it. Oh, is it the trend one? Or is it that Trend have just purchased Ideal and have rebadged it and you got like the last non-Trend badged one? Definitely won't be that one. Have a look. LAN Explorer Pro. Is that what it looks like? Let's have a look. Because it could be one of those things where you've just managed to squeak in with a product that's really like current. Yeah. Yeah, so what you've got is you've got a Trendland Explorer Pro with the wrong badge on the front. So you've got yourself quite a bargain there. Reduced prices. What's in the clearance sale? Oscilloscopes. Oh, what clearance have they got on a Fluke? A cable. So yeah, not bad, not bad. So what does it do? It does a bit of everything. Yeah, so it's got the ability to analyze what aspects of Wi-Fi, net map, network conflicts, authentication, cable testing, copper testing, custom wire maps. There we go. That's a bit better. So we've got it's got an SFP port. RJ45 virtual keyboard auto test function. So I expect one of the first things you'll have to do is update the firmware, which will rebrand it as a trend product. You don't need to do RJ11 really now. I expect you can get a module that will swap out for it, but oh, that link doesn't work. Should we have? Let's have a look. Let's have a look at it from the on the trend side. Hi, Tom. Annoyingly, no. If you're using a XG or an SG with something like pfSense, then yes, there are actual plugins that you can make the screen work. But one of the things that the home license doesn't do is make the screen work. It just says Sophos protection, which is, again, it's the same whether you're using the home or the software version on them. You have to use the hardware version of the firmware to make the screen work on the front, which is a bit annoying. It would be nice if it was possible, but as far as I'm aware, I don't know anyone who's got it to work without using something like pfSense or OpenSense. So it is a bit of a yeah, it's a bit of a shame, really. It's only driven by a serial port. It's all it is. It's a little serial interface internally. It's a shame, actually. It'd be nice if they made it so that you could use the interface on the front to control your home versions. It probably, in all honesty, it wouldn't take Sophos much to do it. It's literally would be just enabling a module, I bet. You're welcome. Not a problem at all. As they say, it's one of those things that eventually, maybe, there is going to be, obviously we're on 19.5.2, so 19.5 maintenance release 2 is the current version. I don't know what's going to change in version 20, that's already being tested in the background. We're waiting to hear from Sophos when it's going to be available for people like myself to test it in early access. Hopefully, again, maybe they may change some things with that because because of how the XGS series works. We don't know what changes that's going to make to the previous generation and to the home version. So, not sure yet, but we'll see. Let's have a look at this. I don't want promotions, I just want... oh, there you go. There you go, Jack. So, formerly Ideal Networks. So, yeah. You managed to squeak in with a product, probably last of the line, that was badged Ideal, and they don't want selling stuff Ideal. They want to be selling Trend now. Which I find interesting. So, they've obviously been bought out. It looks like you got yourself quite a bargain there. I expect the only thing it might not do is 10 gig. But to be honest... No, I've not been running long. Jack managed to find himself a bargain earlier by the looks of it. Basically, he's got a very, very expensive network tester for not a lot of money because it's got the wrong manufacturer name on the front. But, yeah. So I had some technical issues with my machine that I streamed from having a hissy fit. No, I wouldn't be worried for that price. It's one of those... I wish someone, actually... I wish they would... Sorry, running that. So, this is what I have in my kit. And it's not a bad box. It's not a bad little unit for what it does. But I wish there would be they need to do an updated version of it. I don't think the app's had an update for quite some time, but it does what it needs to do. It does all the testing that we need it to do. The only thing it can't do is do a full certification. But then it's not £1,000+ worth of kit to do the certification. It's not something like a fluke tester or anything. Transfer everything back to... What was it pretending to be? It wasn't pretending to be a Google unit, was it? Yours should be able to print out reports, and I won't know. I don't know if it was certified, but it should definitely be able to do a near certification. Flurs. Oh, an NVR. Yeah, you should be able to. You might have to. Is iDRAC still on it? I've only got a 730 here, so I can't test anything with a 740. I mean, I don't know if you go into iDRAC and grab the BIOS exe file from Dell and upload it into iDRAC, if it will overwrite it that way. So if you grab just the generic PowerEdge R740 BIOS for Windows, the exe file, and just go into the actual upload or update firmware section. If anything, anything on a custom, anything on a custom power profile is gonna be loud. I have an R730 and an R710 to do a video on at some point. But yeah, Dell normally, if it's had a customized BIOS on it, there should be a way to force it back to an R740 BIOS, especially if it's just a generic one. The only other thing you might want to try is sometimes when... Hold on, let's do a quick look. So under support, drivers and downloads, so R740, sometimes they have... Be gone, cookie thing, R740. Sometimes, depending on what model it is, so you can see here you've got the OEM. If just the PowerEdge one doesn't work, try one of the OEM ones, because sometimes these might work, because that's what they send out to companies like that, who then customize them. So they're subtly different. I've got one, the R230 I've got is a bit of a mishmash. It's had a board replacement in it. Has it got a service tag? Yeah, so yeah, that's it. This is it. So what you could try is you can try getting, well, if I just go to BIOS, so again, you can try downloading that file, and put that up into iDRAC and see if it will behave. If not, sometimes what you can do, actually what you will find, is that the OEM versions have a slightly older BIOS version than the full version. Let's grab it, shall I? See what it says. Doesn't like that. No. Not having that one. It don't like it. Yeah, so again, just try that one, and then the other one to try is in the full R740 thing. If we go in BIOS, I mean, obviously you can see last BIOS was, so 2.18.1 is the latest. Hiya, Mike. So yeah, try grabbing that version and put that up into iDRAC and see if it will do an update on it. The other option is, got to remember now, Dell 14th Gen. Is to try basically to do a BIOS recovery. So yeah, that's one of the possible ways to do it. It's basically, yeah. Oh, Spa 24 hours on at the moment. No problem. Yeah, they're generally, I think what they'll tend to do is they'll send out the OEM chassis and then as they are, and then they get customized. So there's no reason why the OEM BIOS shouldn't be able to be put back on them. It's sometimes really a case of almost you have to go all the way back to come forward. It just really depends on how annoying they want to be with the BIOS. I'd like some 14th gen servers. I would. I just haven't got the money to invest in them at the moment. I've got Gen 9 servers here, and I've got 13th gen, and I've got 12th gen, and I've even got an 11th gen just to show you why 11th gens are bad. But yeah, it's one of those things that don't get much call for them now, and obviously the ones that are out there are still in use, so I can't pull them off site yet, which is annoying. But I do, however, have a lot of Sophos firewalls, so I am just waiting. Hopefully, I can spend some more time up here when it cools down, because during the day up here is just a sweatbox. So there's no point me coming up here to try and work. But we'll get there. But other than that, much fun. Right, let's switch back. Switch back to me for a minute while I do a quick check up on. Are you still there? That's not bad going for a 230. I think I paid 120 for just a chassis one with very minimal in it. T3 14th gen. Yeah, I've just picked up an interesting little Sophos bit off of eBay, which I'll do a quick video on when it arrives, because it's one of those things you don't think about. It's for the bigger firewalls, but it should be a bit of an interesting one. I am keeping my eye out, Mike. If I do spot one, I will send it your way. Right. I'll just go into my stack a minute, make sure that's all behaving. Yep. I've got a red sat there. I need to speak to Sophos and get it unlocked to my account. But they're an interest. They are a weird little device. They're okay, but they have a use, and the use sometimes for what they cost is it's cheaper to buy a small XG. It's that sort of thing. During lockdown, that's what I was doing for my customer base, was having to buy a load of little baby XGs to behave as red tunnels. So yeah, I mean, they are I should just grab it because it's here. That is a rare. If you've never seen one, so the whole idea of that is that basically extends something like that. So effectively, you gain a series of remote ports. at another site that then you can just plug into. They're a good little system. In all honesty, if you want a bit more flexibility, get a small XG and just put a red tunnel back, and then you can use SD-WAN to set stuff up. Welcome, Richard. It's a lot more flexible than just a red. They are... First things first, if you buy a second-hand one, it needs to be unlocked. This one's locked. I can speak to Sophos because we're a Sophos partner, and I can get that one unlocked to me. So that isn't the end of the world. But there are limitations what this can do versus an XG. This has very, very limited functionality because effectively what it is, it's a basic router and an extension of an existing XG. So to all intensive purpose, let me switch you guys over to, have to come over to here. Excuse me while you end up upside down. But the way just a red device works as against a full-blown appliance, to all intensive purposes, this does that over the internet. So it establishes a tunnel over the internet back into the XG, and then these ports here effectively become extensions of this device. But the only thing that there's three ways in which this operates. So the first way is any connection in from here goes over this link and comes out of the internet connection here. So if this tunnel breaks, everything this end stops. The other way it works is, the second way it works is that you specify that certain traffic goes over this link and the rest of it goes out straight onto the internet. And there's a third way in which it works, and that is that it does basically, hold on, I've got to check. Let me just log in because there's three ways in which these work, and there's one way that's really obscure. I've got to check it a minute. Put you up there a second. There you go. There's another Sophos. Knowing how fussy SkyQ is, it probably wouldn't, because SkyQ requires a multicast link. It might work. It'd be an interesting test. It would genuinely be an interesting test. So just go in. That's it. That's the third way. Hold on. Let me flick you guys over to here. So the red has three modes of operation. You've got your standard, which is unified, which is everything goes over the tunnel. You've got your standard. So basically this device has an IP address on its interfaces that it routes over. and therefore you use it as a gateway. You've got your standard, which is a split tunnel, which it splits out certain traffic, goes over it, the rest of it goes out to the internet. And then you have transparent split, which, again, literally pretends that the main network, one of the networks that you've got at the main site, is extended over the red tunnel and comes out there. So you end up with one big network, which causes its own fun. Now, the problem with split networking is there's no filtering on it. So, whereas if you've got an internet filter on your main appliance, if you want to do any internet filtering at the other end, it doesn't work. And that's one of the big drawbacks with it. So, they're great if you want to send everything back to a central site. The other issue you will have is if you are using red devices in foreign countries, so your main site is in the UK, for example, but you are using a red tunnel back from, say, France or Spain or Germany, and you route all the traffic back, technically you could be in breach of a few laws because you're routing internet traffic effectively back out through a central point. And it also breaks things like Google, because if someone in Germany does a Google search, it will give them the UK version of Google, not the German version of Google. So yes, there are pros and cons to it. Generally, my suggestion is you go off and you get a little baby XG. So if you get something like a 106, set that up as a proper firewall and establish a red tunnel back to your main unit. You can actually go in and set up in SD-WAN, which is, so in routing SD-WAN routes, you can go in here and specify what you want to route. This a standard XG or a Cisco AnyConnect site-to-site link? I would go for a standard XG, basically because you don't have to license it. Cisco AnyConnect, again, if your infrastructure is Cisco, then it's not the end of the world. But from normally with Cisco AnyConnect, you're paying for a user license to use that ability. Once you've bought a Sophos, there's you pay for the license for the appliance. That's it. Which reminds me, actually, so while I'm here, let's go back to there. An RV340. It probably would. Let's just put you up there so I'm not casting shadows over myself. I mean, this is one of the nice things. It just depending on where. I mean, this unit, this is an XG106. This will do 200-300 meg throughput without too much problem. With the home install, the only thing you have to do for home on that, I find, is swap the hard disk out for another M.2 SATA drive. The other option is the ones that I'm keeping an eye out for getting a list. Its bigger brother. That's an XGS135. This is a Rev 3. These are starting to appear. If you look at these can do a gigabit, but you want the Rev 3. You don't want the Rev 2, you don't want the Rev 1, you want the Rev 3. This is the last generation of the XG135s. They're should be going for about 100, 120 quid on eBay. Any more than that, and you say to them, no. They're not worth more than that. They are if you can't get the license with them, they're just not worth it. But for a second-hand appliance, these are, for a home user, these are the best balance between performance and power usage. This full pelt doing a gigabit will use about 25 to 30 watts. The XG230 I've got there on idle uses 30 watts and is a bit loud. These are practically silent in comparison anyway. So that's what I would be looking at if you've got something, especially for yeah. Hold on. No, I've not got one plugged in. Yes, the so there's a 330, which is just the bigger brother to the 230 with the 10 gig card. Which you can put that card in a 230 or a 210, and it will do it internally. Because it's not an Atom, it's a Pentium actually in the 200 series. It moves up to a Core i3 in the 300 series, or a Core i3 and a Core i5. So yes, in theory they will do. It's something that I'm trying to build a testing rig for 10 gig internet, or for 10 gig throughput testing, I should say. So yes, there are pros and cons to the bigger units. So the bigger the unit, and then you can go all the way up if you want to. I mean, this is a 450. This is a Rev 2 450 actually. So again, you can slot in multiple 10 gig units into that. It's got 10 gig. So you've got 10 gig there. You can put another 10 gig in there. You put another 10 gig in there. That's one option you do have. Sorry, this is the Rev 2, not that one. That's a Rev 1. This is a Rev 2 XG450. Sorry, it's got 10 gig on board, and then it's got 2 additional units that you can put in. So again, that will quite happily. This is a Xeon E3 inside. And this is a XG310 Rev 2. 310, yeah, Rev 2. And this has got the this has also got a pair of SFPs and a pair of SFP Plus ports in it. So if you can get hold of a Rev 2 F300 series, these are kind of the best of both worlds. They're not efficient as such compared to a 100 series, but they've got the full throughput capability. So I have a few lying around. Sophos don't do an internal rights license. What they do is they do an NFRs thing for their partners, but you have to be a certain partner level. I mean, I'm here running at the moment. I have an NFR license on one of my units, because that's what we're entitled to. I'm hoping as we step up our level, we get entitled to more, because it makes it a bit cheaper. Checkpoint. Oh, you got the module. Excellent. Yeah, that is the problem. You up the unit and you up the CPU, and they get warmer. So that is one of the things you have to keep an eye out. You can, if you are very lucky on eBay, and it's the original company selling it, you can get the rights transferred over to you. So you can get the original license. I've done it twice now, for certain appliances, and you can get the actual device license transferred. I've had a whinge at Sophos as well, and I will be having further whinges at them, because I said to them, what's the point? I mean, this one's an RMA swap out, so it has no license. This one is not. This one has actually got a license still in it. And my argument to Sophos was, why shouldn't I be able to use this? Why should I not be able to supply this to a client as a way of extending the life of this firmware or this hardware? This is from 2019. It's 4 years old. It's well within usage. So it's that sort of thing. So it's being able to leverage appliances for the length of time that they should be usable for. Yes, that's the problem. You have to get the original company to consent to transfer the license. Then what you get is access when you can transfer the license into your portal. So if you wanted to, you could buy a license from Sophos for that hardware appliance. Now, again, you can buy it on a monthly basis, or you can buy a 3-year, 2 or 3 year one. Yeah, this is my complaint to them. It's absolutely horrendous for e-waste. I mean, this unit here, being a red unit, I should be able to get unlocked. It's from 2020. It's it's just over 3 years old. That shouldn't be going to e-waste. I mean, this is a, I'll put my finger over there because it's still got an asset tag on it. This is an SG210. This is from March 2014, and it only came out of service this year because the hard disk inside started to fail. So I will be swapping that and carrying on. There is nothing wrong with this unit still. As a firewall, as an XG, it was doing its job perfectly. So again, that's got no license on it, but it will be fine as a home firewall for someone who's got a bit of a bigger lab. So it's things like that. It's speaking to Sophos saying, look, there is a way that you can actually get some green points. I know Sophos want to sell more firewalls, same with every hardware manufacturer, but there should be a way. Well, what there should be is there should be a way of applying for a home license for a hardware appliance. You shouldn't have to mess around doing that. What you should be able to do maybe is apply for a limited maybe license for an appliance, to say this is in a lab or this is a home appliance. And that way, if you get hold of an appliance, you can designate it a home appliance. And I know some people are going to take the mick out of it and abuse the system. But most people, if Sophos want to actually get people on board on their system, they've already got a leapfrog over that anyway, because they have the home license. But what they shouldn't be doing is stopping people from using or reusing appliances. Is there a max appliance that Sophos has that would reach a ceiling? But honestly, the between the 200 300 series and the 135, so you get 4-core 6 gig of RAM. The 300 series, or an XG310, is a Core i3. Yeah, so I don't know. What I would think they would do is look at limiting. I mean, there would be a big thing that says not for business use. I mean, just splatter a banner across the top. This firewall is not for business use. That sort of thing. I think that would be a way of doing it. So the XG310 series is a Core i3 4-core. So 2-core hyper-threaded CPU. The 330 is a 4-core non-hyper-threaded i5. So that's the upper limit. And they come with 12 gig of RAM as default, so you halve that. So anything 300 series and below is fine. All you're doing is getting, basically all you're providing it is more CPU capacity for throughput. So it will be able to do more throughput up to a certain limit. Once it hits the limit of the appliance or the limit of the memory, then that's it. Yeah, the problem, the old SG Home Edition, the UTM limit was good until towards the end of its life. 50 devices was very, very easy to hit. Very, very easy to hit. That's the problem. So I would suggest what they do is they keep the limit as it is. I mean, they would just have to deal with maybe have it so that it reports back in, or there must be some way to think of to make it so that people don't really use and abuse the system. I mean, right now I've got at least 5 XG home licenses available to me that I put on various bits of kit. I mean, maybe they do it so you can only get 1 per account or that sort of thing. It's going to take some engaging of brains, I think. But yeah, that would be a preferable way to do it, is to have it so that we're not sending certain bits of kit to e-waste, because I think for people wanting lab usage stuff, this stuff's great. This stuff is perfect because it's not an unknown. Oh yeah, the endpoint, yeah, Sophos endpoint security and control long gone. With Central, but with XG, even XG Home, you can use Central to manage this. I mean, this is the thing. Instead of going out and buying these unknown, weird spec Chinese things with the cheapest possible things in them, and that, you can buy a product that was designed as a firewall, to be a firewall. I mean, that's what this is designed to do. It's designed to be on 24/7 and be a firewall, not a desktop machine that's been tweaked to have a ton of network cards bolted on the front. That's why, again, that's why I would always say, if someone's looking at that sort of thing, to go and have a look. So whether it's a Sophos console, whether it's a Checkpoint console, who's the other one that uses it? There's another company that uses these are all made. Well, there's 2 manufacturers. There's the manufacturer who makes the small units, and there's a manufacturer who makes the bigger units. But they're all made as via an OEM, which is Caswell. Smoothwall, that's the one. Yeah, they do a lot in the education sector, but again, it's exactly the same appliance. Yeah, they're all Caswell units. The XG200, the XG3, 4, 5, 6, 700s are all Caswell. Because where's one? Where's a unit gone? Oh, there. Well, this unit here, the 10 gig card in there is just a generic Caswell card. Hence why it's grey in this one. So I've got an XG450 here. That is part of a video series that I need to do more on. And there's one down there in another rack. Yes, yeah. If you go and look at some of the older units, they're all basically Caswell or OEM specific modifications. That's all they do. The same with these units from Sophos. These were manufactured by another company, the small units. But if you find, when you pop the lid off, you'll see there's a name on them and like a revision. And they're revision like S for Sophos. So they're subtly different. Like the standard version doesn't have an SFP port on it, but Sophos put it on. And they moved a few of the ports around slightly. But the basics are the same. So yeah, it's that sort of issue. They could do well and do a lot for the community if they actually wanted to, and made sure that they invested in enabling people to actually learn the product, like the product. There's a Sophos access point. It's the only one I've got. It's the only one we've ever had. Well, no, I've had 2. I sold one. It's up here, unplugged. That's as far as it gets. I'll tell you what, the best thing about Sophos access points, is the magnets on the bottom. This is an AP55. Again, I've spoken with Sophos on their hardware range because they expected us to sell these and the switches. My argument to Sophos is if you want us to sell these as a product and to put them out to our clients, I want some for free to test. And they haven't done that. So if Sophos want to actually get these out there, well, not this one, these are now end of sale. If they wanted us to sell them, they shouldn't have basically given them to, or they shouldn't have tried to make us sell them first. The Switch line at the moment, they are practically giving away if you buy an appliance. That's the best thing about them, that I can magnetize it to stuff. So these Sophos switches, let's bring them up, shall we? So at the moment, there is nothing in their switch line, nothing in this switch line that is a hook for clients. Their feature set is basic. That's about it. It's a software managed switch, but you still have to pay for it, and it's a licensed product. You have to have a license. So I know the pricing on them as well. I can look up the pricing if I wanted to right now. I have access to all of that. The problem is, and I've said this to Sophos, what is our selling point to our clients on this other than their Sophos? There's nothing that they do that I can't do with the Unifi range. In fact, the Unifi range has more features and technically are cheaper. So yeah, while they've tried to fill in the blanks and they've tried to fill in gaps with certain aspects, why would I choose Sophos over Unifi, and why would I choose Sophos over, say, Aruba Instant On? What is the hook? And that's the problem. If they integrated it with synchronized security, whereby if it picked up something, it would shut down a port. So if it picked up something nasty going on with a device, it would close down that port. Fantastic. And that may be something that comes along later. But there's nothing about that at the moment. So yes, there is a lot. I mean, there's a varied set of things, but they're very, very similar to everybody else's Switch lineup. So there's no real differentiation between the Sophos lineup, the Cisco CBS lineup, the Aruba Instant On lineup, the Meraki Go lineup. The only difference is that Sophos want to charge a license for this to be managed. And if I want to pay a license, I've got plenty of other options that are a more mature product. So, yes, there are... I'm not saying that they're a bad Switch. I'm just saying that they're an expensive Switch when we already have our Switch infrastructure and clients already have a good Switch infrastructure, and there's nothing that they do that I can go to a client and say, you know what, I think you need to put Sophos switches in here. And because I can't just get hold of one, I mean, when I've spoken to our Sophos point of contact at distribution and at Sophos, they have so few orders coming through for these that, again, I expect at some point that they will vanish. So Ubiquiti triumphs a lot of people, just there's a negative attitude because of how Ubiquiti does stuff. Again, pretty much every other Switch manufacturer can do what they do. There's nothing there that is a hook to sell it, and that's one of the problems. That's one of the issues. So yeah, if they did something that was amazing, and they did something that was security driven, and they did something that maybe integrated into the whole synchronized security side of things, maybe, just maybe, I would start to be able to say to clients, actually, this is what you need. As it stands, no, there isn't. There's nothing that I can do with. There's nothing different, and the fact that I can't get hold of one to play with to see how it behaves, it's like in here. I mean, like if I plug in that AP now, this is how you configure the Wi-Fi. It's all done. This is my main XG. In fact, let's have a laugh, shall we? Let's plug a Sophos AP in. So we'll wait for that to boot. In fact, there it is. I don't even know if it will still behave itself. Find out in a minute. While we're waiting for that to boot up, I'll switch back. It's a shame. It's frustrating, really, because we're someone who is very, very pro Sophos. We are a company who is very, very pro Sophos, and we've stuck with them, even though there's been some severe frustrations. We've stuck with them through some rough times, and yeah, they're kind of trying to do the, oh, we can do that too, and it doesn't really work. So yeah, I mean, the wireless side, again, they have integrated synchronized security into the wireless, but there's nothing that I can sell to a client there realistically. There's nothing amazing about it. So do we pay more for an AP that I've then got to license, or do we stick Ubiquiti Unifi in, or something else? So yeah, we got sort of a range of models, and again, it's kind of like a we can do this too. And I've asked them as well. I've said to them, put together a test kit, put together a kit that you can send out to us and to all the other partners, so that we know how this stuff works. Because if they want us to sell it, I can't sell it if I've not had a piece of kit to play with. I'm not going to test on clients. I have to test on myself, and I have to test on our networks before I will test on a client network. No, the APs themselves, when this one finishes booting up, as far as I'm aware, they are not licensed. It's part of... they got rid of the licensing out of them. I don't know. Central management, I think, is licensed for them. I need to double check. Just wait for this thing to finish booting. Lights are flashing. There used to be a license required for these. But they got rid of that. Oh, I got disco lights. Is it doing an update? Might be doing an update. So we'll just let that run. Again, I have literally the sole indicator, when it's not magnetized, is literally an LED that's there. That's it. That's the only indicator I have that it's doing something. Active, there we go. So, I mean, you've got a lot of the things that you say. I've got an AP group. I've got wireless networks, so I can add a wireless network and call it test Wi-Fi. I only got WPA2, not WPA3 yet. I can bridge the again. You can add a separate Wi-Fi zone, so I can have traffic in a separate zone. Wi-Fi, I can give it a range and put it on its own network. Let's give it a. So if I give it an IP address 10.1.19.1, set up a few things in there, but again, it's very, very password. Oh, I forgot password. Password is password. Something to do with the mobile interest. I don't like UI starts with those. Well, their obsession with VLAN 1 is disappearing. But then you always have to take the view with Ubiquiti that they are still trying to make their platform accessible to people coming in. There is this lower and upper limit to what Ubiquiti is good for, and it's a very, very tall sort of area, but at the same time they are there to make things easy. They make things easy, they make things manageable, and they allow you to change things, but they want it to be easy for most people to use. So they've obviously, with the latest update with 7.4, they're changing how their stance on how VLANs work, which will keep a lot more people happier because they're moving to a more, more industry standard way of working, where you start to allow VLANs in rather than allowing all VLANs in and removing one and setting port profiles that you don't want. So there's pros and cons. Yes, yeah, they're edge at the moment. We are still waiting for a replacement for the USG. So that is one of the things we are waiting for. We are in that situation where they're trying to cater for everyone, and they have missed this giant gaping hole because they've abandoned they've still got the USG3. We'll have a look in a second, but they haven't replaced it. They replaced the Pro, but not the entry level. So we've got our access point, which, hold on, let me just put it in the right country so I'm not breaking any laws, and I'll put it in the default group. So you've got your standard stuff, so 2.4 channel width, 5 gigahertz channel width. I can turn on STP, I can do put the AP on its own VLAN. Save that a minute. And then I can go into the default group. AP is already a member of it. I can add test Wi-Fi to that group. Don't need to tag the VLANs because I haven't got any set up on that switch. So that's up and running. There is a mesh ability. You can add mesh networks in. So test SSID, there's the AP it's on. Got nothing connected to it. Let's connect something to it, and I'll show you what we get with that. Is there another update that's got to go on? Yes, there is. We've got test Wi-Fi. Test Wi-Fi will be good. So I've got test Wi-Fi. We're going to get test Wi-Fi. Again, That's all fine. That's all fine. That's an AP. Test Wi-Fi as part of that. It's all okay. You can set all that up. Where's my test Wi-Fi? I mean, these are the sort of things, like, so far, it's not actually a great experience. It's very, I mean, it still hasn't provisioned the AP. Let's do a refresh. There it is. So, what did that take? 2 or 3 minutes to provision the AP? Yeah, for one camera, again, I mean, if you want to cut your power down, stick an SSD in the cloud key. It will cut down the heat as well. Right. Spelt the password wrong. The password is password. Awesome. It's not working. Try again. Although, actually, I know why it won't be working. Hold on. It's because there's no DHCP server on it. That'll help. The Unifi video thing, again, I know it upset people, but it was obvious. As soon as Protect launched, it was obvious Unifi video would be going. I think the other problem with that is the support load for Unifi video would have only grown, and with a product that is effectively free, with no control over what people are running it on, the support tickets must have been ranging from people who were actually very, very experienced and wanting actual help to really, really badly thought out systems and people whinging why it didn't work. So hence them taking control back with it. The topology map is still a bit wonky at times. Thing is, actually, Cisco PoE switch cloud info for wireless. Again, I would be cautious over the Sophos wireless side, the same way I would be cautious over the Sophos switch side, because we're not putting any orders through for them at the moment. The people I'm speaking to aren't putting any orders in at the moment for them, which means that the actual the requests going into Sophos must be very, very low. We install quite a bit of Protect. Look, there's me. There's me there. Hi. Yes. Yes, we use a lot in the way of NVRs and stuff like that. You can see there me moving stuff around today. So yeah. Yes, we use the Protect stuff. We really like the Protect stuff. more importantly, our clients really like the Protect stuff. I don't know. Honestly, I do not know. We don't go near Hike purely and simply from an ethics standpoint. I won't go near the company. I don't doubt they do good kit, but from an ethical point of view, not interested in dealing with them. I managed to get rid of. So hold on, let me just go back to here, go back to the wireless, and we should see that we have. There you go. There's a client on it. That's this tablet, but it's got no internet because I haven't got any firewall rules that allow it. I mean, there's obviously that's. Let me flick back a second. So again, people who've watched me before know that I do a lot on the Ubiquiti stuff. So that's a pair of Ubiquiti NVRs stacked. That's the ones from my video that I just did. I'm still testing stuff with that actually, because one of the frustrations I do get with like with YouTube in particular, I did a stacking video on the NVRs. I think mine was the first stacking video out there. Less than 1,000 views on it so far, but I went into quite some detail on it and demonstrated how it works, what it does, pros and cons, all the normal stuff. Less than 500 views roughly on it. Someone else does a stacking video, thousands of views, and didn't really cover half the stuff off that people actually need to know and how it actually does stuff. Bit frustrating, but hey ho. But yeah, that's the Doorbell Pro. That's the one that can have the USB PoE adapter in. And actually, I think that's not a bad idea, because if you get the newest USB PoE adapter, you can run a very long USB-C cable to this, which is a bit easier to manage. Oh, there's a very good chance I'm in a lot of the Facebook groups, and you can usually tell it's me because I'm normally laughing at someone doing something stupid or pointing someone in the right way. I can be quite blunt on that sort of thing. You will know it's me. I'd rather help people and point them in the right direction than let them get bullied around to a certain degree. Oh, more than likely. You'll find me in quite a few. Usually I'm in the Ubiquiti groups. I'm in a lot of the other tech groups as well. I'm normally live on TikTok, obviously. If you've got this on its mount, I mean, the only thing you could probably... someone on Etsy or somewhere must be doing 3D printed mounts that give these a bit of a standoff. They do come with their standoff, but you want the proper one with the rubber seal on the back, because the actual... Let me show you. So if you can see this, the actual interface on that has a grommet, has a rubber seal on it for waterproofing it. You can just about see the blueness on it. Now that I can show you this actually, because EA doesn't exist anymore with Ubiquiti, and this is the EA PoE adapter for that unit. But obviously this one has a little rubber grommet on it. Yeah, this is it. I'm trying at the moment to get my my partner, she's doing stuff like that, and it's trying to get over the initial hump of getting followers building up. I mean, I'm slowly but surely making my way up to 10,000. I've hit a bit of a... I've sort of plateaued for a bit, but then it's the way of it. It's social media is not my main source of income. Doing work is, I do this because I enjoy it, as I've said many times. So that is the actual depth, if you see what I mean. So if you can chase that in, if you go with the changed version of this, it's actually got a USB-C socket, so you don't need to deal with that chunk going through. You only have to deal with that. So you only have to deal with that end going through. Yeah, that's the problem with TikTok. You start watching one thing and 3 hours later you wonder where the time's gone. But yes, I mean that this here. So that's a G5 bullet cam. I've got AI thetas dotted around, things like that. So yes, I run Unifi Protect at my house as well, to test stuff. As a CCTV system, no, it's not the best, but as a CCTV system for people to use, it's one of the easiest and one of the best at being a general good all-round system. That's its big thing. That's the big point about it. I mean, there you go. There's the camera there again. So that's a G5 bullet. That's designed to be mounted outdoors. It's not really designed to be mounted on a beam inside, but I needed one to test while it was in EA at the time, when EA was a thing, and that's where it ended up. I mean, there's a G5 Flex. That's the little Flex unit. I've just put all these away because it wasn't used. So there's a Flex G5, and they're a great upgrade from the G3 Flexes. And I've got G3 Flexes in some really, really silly places, but they just keep working. So what do we do? I mean, at that point, the only time I'll replace stuff is when it fails. That's a failed G3 Flex because that one got wet. But yes, I was thinking of setting up my XG to have VPN into a VLAN for CCTV. I won't. Adverse, yeah. The way Ubiquiti works, I mean, I haven't set it back up here. I normally do have the way we work normally is you have your main production LAN. We put all our CCTV on its own VLAN, and you give the NVR access to Ubiquiti, because the way it works, if you want to review it remotely, the Ubiquiti's cloud acts like a proxy. So you connect to the cloud and it connects down to your NVR. You don't have to open any ports up for it. Plus, if you want, you can keep an eye on what traffic is going where from the NVR. So that's one of the nice things about it. So what makes it very, very easy to use, and it's why, again, our clients do like it, because they can just go on their phone, hit the Unifi app, bing, 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 connect, tap a camera, zoom, scroll. Very, very basic functionality, but it's very, very easy for them to do it, and that's its selling point. The app is its main selling point. When you compare that to all the others, I mean, unless you're dealing with something like Blink, which is just not really CCTV, it's just remote cameras, and Ring, it really does demonstrate how you can not necessarily have the best quality of cameras, and they're not the cheapest camera, but the app will sell the rest. So yeah, so what you're doing is you are basically, it's a point in the middle. You're not allowing the proxy access into the network. You are connecting through it. It's a central point to connect to. So the theory, because you're not opening anything effectively up in, the side of it, if you're looking at it from an nth level of security, yes, a VPN is more secure, but you lose a lot of the functionality. So if you can contain where it's got access to a specific VLAN, and you have a system that is multi-factored to access it. Oh my god, he's alive. Welcome, Jason. You're a bit late. It's been going for about an hour almost, I think. In fact, more than an hour, I think. Oof. Oh, I wouldn't knock Ring. For what they do, again, their whole selling point is it's easy to use. That's the key part, and that's the thing that a lot of the time, unfortunately, a lot of people miss. A lot of people like myself who are very technical think we need everything, when what Joe Public needs is a button that says, look at my camera. Pop! And they can look at their camera. Take a picture of my camera. View, scroll up and down to view previous. That's what they want. They want to use the adage, they KISS, keep it simple, stupid. They need it very, very simple to deal with the fact that sometimes, yes, they can be stupid. But that's what we as the professionals, I think, have to deal with, rather than trying to sell them the most complicated, what would be technically the best solution, but you need a computer science degree to view footage on a camera. Yeah, what is the requirement? What is the use case? I need that on a t-shirt. When eventually I get to the point where I can do some merchandise and do some fun things, I'm going to say, what is your use case? I'm going to have that on a t-shirt. And I want KISS, keep it simple, stupid. Bang, bang, bang. Keep it simple, stupid. Down a t-shirt. Because again, it's the one thing that often gets missed. It's the one thing that often gets forgotten about. Jason, as you are here, hopefully still, we are playing with Sophoses as well. And I know you said you got yours working. I'm intrigued as to why it wasn't working. Because again, this is my main XG, and it's got websites published through it, and so I don't know. I'm still confused as to why yours played up. It's having actually quite a quiet day today. But yeah, I don't know. I'm still confused. Hey, no, I've through sledgehammer means I have persuaded him, and he has seen the enlightenment. Yeah, I have enlightened him as to the joys of a firewall appliance that is just designed to be a firewall appliance. It's not designed to cook the tea and serve pints down the pub through plugins. Yeah, I mean, just in comparison, because of the amount of game servers, I mean, these are all my NAT rules. I have that many NAT rules on my thing, all for different services, and again, they all behave. Firewall rules, all grouped up into rules, but again, I'm confused as to why yours didn't work. But again, it may be just one of those wonderful quirks that happened. Yes, plenty. You've got your choices. I mean, SSL VPN, it's just OpenVPN. He's got all the firewalls under the sun. Again, OpenSSL. It's that sort of thing. It's how far down that path do you go? Are you looking to protect against like a nation state trying to hack your home network, or that sort of thing? You can do the normal APC L2TP. The Sophos have the Sophos Connect thing. For business as well, they have their zero trust network access, so ZTNA or ZTNA, which again allows an always on connection type thing. But yeah, SSL VPN again. You can specify. You've got to set it up, obviously, but you can specify all the settings. Install the generic Open VPN client and just put the config in. Done. Easy enough. I can't use it here because my Sophos is actually behind my Unifi. I need to work on getting my Unifi behind my Sophos, but that requires me recabling half the house. Yes, a lot has changed since the UTM-9 days. A lot has changed since the XG actually launched. I mean, honestly, I understand Pt16. I don't use it because I find it doesn't actually achieve what I need it to achieve. And then, out of Pt16 and OpenSense, I would go for OpenSense because they actually understand that you need a decent interface on a product like this, and you don't need to have 1,000,000,001 plugins. You have plugins. They have plugins because it suits the way their software is designed to do certain things that they don't do out of the box. But then I divert over to Sophos because if I want a focused firewall service that I can go in and say, if I want to turn on TLS, so HTTPS scanning, it's like 3 boxes I need to deal with, not install a ton of plugins, pray that the plugins are working, mess around with a load of stuff and hope that it works, only to get a really bad experience out of it. I think pfSense has, I mean, obviously the big selling point for pfSense is it's open source, but at the same time that closes it out of quite a few potentials. And the other problem is because it's a free product, it gets used in situations because it's free that maybe it's not the best product. Yes, so Sophos XG is, this is what we do. You can run it on, I mean, it's not actually the smallest appliance. This is the smallest appliance in terms of power. This is an XG105 that I've upgraded the RAM on. This will run 19.5 MR2, but the throughput on it will be probably 100 meg because the little processor and it just cannot cope. I've got an XG86 which technically is more powerful than this, and that will do about 200 meg. Yeah. Oh god, yeah, the Red Hat thing is, it's not gonna be the end of them because there's too many Red Hat Enterprise users. That's why I have a 106, because I'm the 105. There's a 105. There's a 106. Let's have a look. Bing. There we go. So there's the difference in them. Roughly the same size, similar set of ports, apart from the 106 has got an SFP port on it and has 2 power supplies in, and this one's got VGA. This one's got HDMI. Oh yeah, and yeah, that's the other thing as well. The interface on a Sophos, it does take. It's not quick. My one here. This is running on I've got a 4-core 6 gig license on this, and this is running on an XG330, so it's running on a Core i5, and it's reasonably snappy as an interface, but you can still see it's not instant because it's having to generate stuff. So it's generating all of this, but at the same time, this is all available without having to get plugins. SG software was really, really nice and friendly. That was what its big selling thing was. It was a very, very easy to way. When it was obviously built by Astaro, it was very, very easy to use. And that was the nice thing about it. When Sophos changed over to SFOS, which was obviously Cyberome, when they bought Cyberome out, it was a shock to the system because this was more akin to how bigger firewalls behaved. And that upset a lot of people because the selling point was it was nice and easy to train users and things like that on. You can join the queue behind Mike. Everyone's after this. The 135. Everyone wants a 135. Rev 3. This is mine. My 135. 135 Rev 3. I've just mowed the lawn. I'm going to wind it up now because we want to take the dog out down the beach, and I've been going for a bit. But so I'm going to wind it up, Jace, because I need to go and take the dog out. If we don't, poor Pupper is going to explode. Yeah. See, I still do stuff on YouTube that's not just Unifi. That's our next mission, is to convert you to Unifi. Now they're making changes that will make you happy for the VLAN stuff. We'll get you over to Unifi. We'll get you onboarding. But yeah, you missed us looking at the... we had a quick look at the Sophos switches and the Sophos APs. I will try and do some more YouTubes, basically. I've got so much backed up here to do. Again, trying to be a bit different from the normal me just talking about stuff to actually engaging on here. That's why I do a lot more, as much as some will whinge, do a lot more on TikTok, because it's a lot more engagement and it's a lot easier to engage on TikTok. But yeah, that's where we are. I'll try and keep these up and fairly regular as well. So thank you all for joining me. I will love you and leave you now, and I'm going to go and take the dog for a walk down the beach. Hopefully, as long as the other half hasn't left me already. And yeah, normal stuff. Most evenings on TikTok. Trying to do weekend stream to keep people happy. And yeah, I will join you again, hopefully around this time next time. Tutty byes all.